All right, well, welcome everyone. It's great to see you all out for the second edition of the 2021 Questers Annual Fall Conference, entering a new paradigm. And we all know what a new paradigm is. It's something that's different from what's been before. And we as Questers have been preparing and discussing a new paradigm for probably a lot longer than I've been a member. Questers goes back over 40 years, and I bet you we've been talking about it for that long because this has been predicted these times we are living in. The change is happening, the rush of emotions, the awakening, the new awarenesses and everything. So part of that process is very emotional. It's emotional for each one of us. And there's a lot of shall we say, swamp in a sense to move through in that emotional realm because I my experience is that we just don't in our culture we just don't get taught very well how to how to work on our emotional IQ, how to feel things fully and then let them move on to the next experience. Uh, so I'm really delighted to welcome Maggie Reigh as our presenter this evening. Maggie hails to us from Lake Country here in the Okanagan, and she works with people in a really interesting way. She really gets you into your body. Your emotions move through your body. The chemicals are in your body. We experience life through this body. And this is where Maggie's expertise and speciality comes in. I know a couple of people that she's worked with in years gone by, and they say she absolutely changed their lives for the better. She helped them so much. So I'm really excited to have you here today, Maggie, and I want to welcome you with Questers here. And I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, everybody. If you have questions you want posed to Maggie, please type them at the bottom. There's a little box that says chat. If you click on that, you'll see that there's a space you can type stuff in. And I'll keep an eye on the chat box, and we'll fire a few questions at her from time to time, and we'll see how good she really is. Over to you, Maggie.
We'll see. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And it's beautiful to be here. And truly tonight we are going to find out how it's some very important tips and information on how to navigate the most incredible navigational device ever created. Because that's what our body is. It's a navigational device that we can get through life. And as you said, Jackie, many of us, I think pretty much everybody, I really haven't talked to anybody who really grew up in a home where they learned, or even in schools where people learned how to handle these things called emotions. In fact, there's kind of an embarrassment about even having an emotion. You're not supposed to have that, and you're not supposed to be angry, and you're not supposed to feel shame, and you're not. So we end up needing to try to bury all of that emotion and then carry on by creating some ideal image of who we think we ought to be, and then try really hard to get everybody to sort of see that image of who we are. Does that make sense? Does that
we're
feel
trying
like?
to we're trying to be who we think we ought to be rather than just be ourselves, be who we actually are, and discover that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and that being ourselves means also recognizing the emotions that are arising in our body, because they are what are here to navigate our way through life. When anger comes up, it comes up for a reason, and we can learn to receive it in a way that doesn't just project onto somebody else or stuff inside. Because who here remembers learning when we were talking about emotions that, or an emotion that came up, that you were supposed to stuff it? Like, big girls don't cry, keep crying and I'll give you something to cry about. That whole thing about these emotions that are rising. And now what I find is that they are rising so strongly with people, and the places where we've shoved them down into our body. Because if you just think about that for a moment, you just think this emotion is rising, it's rising. And an emotion is energy in motion. So when it is rising, and do this with me, just take your fist like this and just imagine that this fist is an emotion that's rising, because it does happen in the body. You've all felt emotion rise.
Very
It's
quickly.
rising, and now try and push it down.
Yeah.
And feel that tension. Feel the tension in the body. Because that's what most of us are walking around with these days, is all this tension from trying to keep emotions down, and we don't know how to release them and to be able to channel them. And that creates a lot of pain. It creates pain on all levels, emotional, physical, mental, spiritual levels, because we are trying to stuff something down inside, not let it show, and then carry on in our relationships in a way that seems acceptable and that will get approval. Can you relate to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotions are such powerful things. But you know what I really like that you said is that the body, my body, is the best navigational tool on the planet, and your body is. I never thought of it like that.
And when we recognize that the body's here to be a learning device to help us make our way through life, things change. And emotions are physical. They are physical. There's Candace Pert's book, Molecules of Emotion, and many, many, many others that are saying emotions are very physical. So we are going to work in a very physical way. And when I work, that's what we do. And what I find is that when people can release the knot of pain that is often creating a lot of suffering, and even have a relief in that pain for a moment, and then release, they can actually view this issue that they're dealing with from a new paradigm, as you talked about, Jackie. Like Einstein said, no problem can be solved at the level of consciousness that it was created. So when we are stuck, when an emotion gets stuck inside of us, when I'm embarrassed and I'm trying to push it down and I'm trying to carry on and do this, but it's still there, it's holding this, I can't figure it out on this level. But if I can release that emotion, I actually expand my consciousness. And I can now understand and see the whole scene from a different level. And I want to give you a really powerful picture of how that happens, because that's actually how I got into doing this work many years ago. I was able to pop out of this level of contraction that the pain was holding me in. In fact, I had so much pain at that time in my life that my feet wouldn't let me walk on them until after lunchtime. I was just hobbling, just trying. I was just, because pain, that level of emotional pain, and I was really dealing with a lot of emotional pain. The main relationship in my life with my husband was not working. And I really felt that that was my job. I felt that my key at that point in life was to find a man, make him happy, and then I'll be happy. That was sort of the way I grew up on the prairies. That's what I saw people doing. And I thought, this is what I'll do, is I'll find a man, I'll make him happy. But you know what? Do you know what happens when you decide to make someone happy and that your happiness depends on theirs? Think about that for a moment. It was like, I said, here I am, dun, da, da, I'll make you happy. He said, fine, wonderful, but I'm not happy. Oh, well, I'll try harder, but I'm still not happy. Well, I mean, I'm still not happy. And there's all kinds of emotion comes into that, because there's an underlying agreement that I'm going to make him happy. And in my mind, I was thinking, that's what I do to have a happy life. I make all the people around me happy. I create all these circumstances out there, and then I'll be happy. So I had the double whammy, because you can see how that's really not the most powerful stance to go through life with, that I need to make everybody happy. They need to approve of what I'm doing, and then I'll be happy. Good luck. So I was in that state, and I had a husband. My husband was a rather grouchy, unhappy person.
Mhm.
And I like to spread that with everybody, kind of shooting my friends away and that sort of thing. And man, I needed a miracle because I had two young children. I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to break this up. I need a miracle. So I started studying A Course in Miracles. Anyone familiar with A Course in Miracles?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay, if you're not familiar with it, it's actually a text that is written by Jesus and is received by these two other people who received it and wrote it down. And it's a very difficult text, actually, to read.
It
And
is.
it was not easy. And I was going, oh, I don't want to do this. Is so hard. And I wasn't getting anywhere. And I was doing it every single day. And I was thinking, oh, all that I give is given to myself. Well, that's not really true, is it? Because I'm giving and giving and giving. I'm giving everything in this relationship, and I don't feel like I'm getting anything.
Hmm.
And then I think, well, forgiveness is the key to happiness. And I think, oh, yeah, right. Well, forgiveness. I mean, I forgive. And I forgive. Can I be happy now? And a miracle is a shift in perception. Those three tenets really stood out loud for me. And I thought, well, I had seen this marriage of ours and the relationships and all the troubles we were having. I really tried hard to look at them from every angle, every perception, but it still wasn't resolved. So as it turned out, I went to see a psychic. And the
Ah,
psychic, first thing she said to me is, if you don't have what you want, it's because you are keeping it from yourself. I went, some psychic, like, ask anybody in my life. This is not my fault. This is all about my husband and his fault. And but I thought I didn't want to say that. So I went, like, what do you mean? And she said, well, she says, for example, if you don't have the lover you want, you're not being the lover you want. And when she said that, that really cut clear and through to me, because I thought, yeah, I was there, but I was there with a lot of resentment because I didn't like the way I was being treated before I got there. And, let's face it, it's just, I could see, oh my God. And then I went, that's it. That's it. All that I give. What was I giving when I was a lover? I was giving resentment.
hmm.
And as soon as I understood that I was giving that kind of resentment, I thought, whoa, that's me. That's why I feel resentful, because I am resenting and I feel that resentful. So something kind of broke loose and I went, wow, a miracle is a shift in perception, because now I could see, well, I wasn't just a victim here. I could actually shift something. I could really understand and feel how I might shift something. And I felt so powerful that all this power came flooding in. And I thought, well, forgiveness is the key to happiness. When I let go of blaming, and that's a big one, letting go of blaming somebody else for everything that's not going right in my life, then I can actually forgive. And I thought I could let all that other stuff go. And I went home that night and happy as could be. It was unbelievable. We had this lovely time because I was just flowing. I was kept thinking, all that I give is given to myself. And I just was in that mode of giving, and we fell in love deeply like we'd never been before for 3 days. And on the third day, a friend came to visit. A female friend came to visit. And I always knew that my husband had sort of had a little, I don't know, just a crush or something maybe on her. But I did not worry about it because I thought we were madly, wildly in love now. And I said, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. You guys have fun. I wake up in the middle of the night. No husband. No friend either.
Oh no.
Is
Oh
sleeping.
no.
And I'm thinking, oh my God. And it was one of those full moons. And I go out into the orchard we were living on then. And I go ripping down the hill. And there they are, standing in a great big harvest moon just coming up over the hill. And he's kissing her and holding her voluptuous breasts. And I just went stark raving. Like, it's like I flew right out of my body. I went into just a rage, and I went, oh my God, I can't believe this. You know, if this had happened 3 days ago, it would have been just what I needed for us to break up. But no, you let me fall in love with you again. And I kept on going down the hill and waving. And I said, get her out of here. I don't want her here when I get back. And what am I going to do? And I flew right back into that state of ego. And what happens? I'm standing at the bottom of the Okanagan Valley, of the orchard, overlooking the expanse of the Okanagan Valley, and down the hill trots my friend. And she grabs onto me, and she's holding my arm, and she's going, Maggie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I went, and I popped out into omnipresence. That's all I can say. It was like I was suddenly this huge knowing in a space. And I was looking down at this event that was unfolding. And there I was. And there was the players in my game. The players in my game who I now could see were helping me to wake up, because here it was. All that I give is given to myself. This is my choice. From an expanded state, I could see it's my choice. I can forgive her, forgive him. It's in my power to do that. I can look at them like, you know, they're fools. I can do what the ego wanted me to do, was get them out of there and make sure they, you know, and probably split up with my husband. But that was only ego who wanted that. Who I truly was, wanted a relationship that was open and honest and loving, and I could see that from this expanded state. If I chose the way of the ego, I was not going to have that. But I could instead recognize these people from this higher level of consciousness as players in the game. And because I felt powerful. I felt so powerful, because you know what? Ultimately, I knew that there was nothing there with him and her. And ultimately, I knew I wanted to build this relationship with my husband and my 2 young children. And ultimately, I absolutely knew that this was my choice.
So you took responsibility for it. Your feelings.
I accepted it as a gift, Jacqueline. Sometimes when people say take responsibility for something, I hear, are you taking the blame for it? No,
you received it.
I recognize, I received it as a gift, as this is what's happening in my game. This is what's going on, and I have a choice. And I can either operate from this expanded state of consciousness, or I can go back into ego. And the choice is mine, because I could as easily have, you know, just gotten in there and said, get out of here. I don't want to ever see you again, blah, blah, blah. Would have been, that's what the ego wanted to do. But because I was in this expanded state, I felt nothing but gratitude for the people, because it was so powerful. It is such a powerful state to be able to be in a state that removes the emotional pain, that you see that state gone, and everything feels perfect. It doesn't feel like anybody is a victim. It doesn't feel like there's anything wrong, that everything is happening for me, not to me. So I went from basically a victim, believing that in my life everything happens to me, to a creator, knowing that everything happens for me. And that happened like in the blink of an eye. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I turned and I looked at my friend. I said, oh no, you know what? Nothing to forgive. No worries. It's all perfect. Thank you, in fact. And she went, what? Like, what are you talking about? And the neatest thing was that we walked and talked, fully accepting one another and the truth of what was going on in our lives. And I understood so much about her and how it came that she, her insecurities needed this to happen, or reached out, and that's how it happened like that. So it was beautiful. And I went back to and by the way, my feet actually quit aching the first time that I let go of resentment. When I said the first time when I came back from the psychic, and I just, everything let go. And I can tell you, with the many people that I have worked with, that I have seen physical ailments disappear like that when they let go of something that's long held. I have one client comes to mind who had extreme burning all up through her insides, her uterus and vagina. She was just burning. And it turned out she was stuffing this deep rage and fury at someone who had molested her daughter. And she had been, because it was a family member, she had had to force it down, and it had been a long time ago, and it was now erupting in this rageful feeling inside of her. And it disappeared like that in an instant. So that's what I really want to be able to share with all of you here tonight is, first of all, how do I feel? What I can feel, I can heal. I had to feel it. I had to feel that rage moving through my body. When she felt her rage, she felt it moving through the body. And when we feel it, it will move. But if we feel like we have to stuff it down, it gets stuck. And emotions get absolutely painfully stuck in the body when we have to shove them down. So that's one of the things that we want to be able to start with, is for you to be able to come to your body and recognize this is the most incredible navigational device you've ever seen, that's ever been created, really, and start to use it as that. Because there's nothing wrong with our emotions, except that we've been taught to believe that we are not supposed to show them and we're not supposed to have them lots of times.
That made me think of political correctness. It's almost like a political correctness that you shouldn't feel this or feel that, irregardless of, but I found that my emotions, and when I see them in people, they don't always follow what you should or shouldn't. A feeling is a feeling. It just arises. You didn't choose that one. It's just all of a sudden, like you said, it comes up like the fist, right?
Yeah. And when we're feeling like, it's also a matter of stuffing our feelings was a matter of survival when we were young.
Yeah.
Many of us knew that we were really going to get it if we showed that we were upset. And so we'd be more upset. So don't show it. Or as political correctness, it's not in line with the ideal image that I want to project into the world. And so I end up shoving down something inside that I really want to be able to project, that I really don't want to keep me down while I'm projecting a different image. And those emotions, by the way, whatever you suppress, another will express. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's passive aggressive is all about that. I stuff this, and so it comes out sideways. That's the way I describe it. It comes out sideways if you don't deal with it.
Yeah. And sometimes it comes out like, it's like when I'm grouchy, guess who's grouchy? My children are grouchy. If I'm trying to pretend I'm not grouchy, my kids are picking that up and they're grouchy, or my partner's picking that up and he's grouchy. So what I suppress, another will express. Just remember, realize that. So what would happen if I could actually feel my emotion and not suppress it anymore? And be able to release it. And what I can feel, I can heal. Because truly, feeling is healing. When many, almost everybody who I've ever worked with, when we start to actually feel into the body and recognize some kind of pain that is there, something that's uncomfortable, and we take away the judgment that it's wrong, that it's uncomfortable, it shouldn't be like that, or we beat ourselves up because we must have done something wrong because we've got this disease, or whatever is going on. When we go into all of that, rather than simply feeling it, it gets bigger and more uncomfortable. And what I resist persists. Have you felt that? When you
I've heard that one before. What you resist persists, for sure.
Yeah.
And you mentioned forgiveness before. So if you resist forgiving someone, especially if they've asked for your forgiveness, they've done you wrong, and if you refuse to give it, oh my goodness, that is not good for you.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah. And yet most people, forgiveness is really hard to give when we are feeling we're still wounded.
And that's where your resentment starts to grow.
That's absolutely. And resentment is very heavy and very damaging. It's at the root of many physical diseases, because anything held emotionally like that for a long time and stuffed in the body does create disease. And
in our chat here, Maggie, Elda has put the comment in. It's like German new medicine, which, are you familiar with?
Yeah, very much.
There you go.
The issue is in the tissue. And that is what's happening. And so how can we release it? That's the real question. Like, we are all here tonight, and how can we actually release that in the tissues? And that's what I want everybody to have an experience of being able to release and to feel more deeply into that. And how do I stop struggling to put that image out there and have, or to be someone who's accepted, or that's our struggle, isn't it? Most of the time. And then how do I really be who I am in truth? How can I be that, instead of thinking of myself always as this human being with some spiritual moments, this human being that's trying to connect in a spiritual way? How can I be a spiritual being or an infinite being on a human journey? So that's really that's why I shared that with you in the very beginning. So you would have an example of, well, how I shifted from being my human journey, going to meditation and doing whatever I did for my spiritual awakening, to really feeling like, poof, wow, I am out there. And I've had many clients who get right into that they can feel like they are suddenly very much out there. So so are you ready? Would you like to learn some and to experience? That's what I love. Is this isn't about, okay, I'll try that method later. This is about, let's try it now. Are you ready?
Everybody ready?
Into the body, yes?
I think they're all saying yes.
Thank you, Glenn. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to invite all of us to really come here. I mean, of all the ways that we can work to move energy in the body, one of my favorite is through sound and vibration in the body. And the Chinese vibrational healing sounds have been so helpful for me. And they relate to the 5 organs and the 5 major emotions in the body. But the one that is really important is about being present. They're all important. And it's held in here. It's held in our heart when we are feeling we aren't present, when we feel impatience, when we think, okay, I just want to get on to the next thing that we're going to do. And I don't want to go through this. And, how do I release all of those? Do you ever feel like you got 1,000 cords pulling you to go to different places? Have you ever felt like that?
You mean like with your attention?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta
Oh,
go
yeah.
to this. I got this. That's pulling on me. I should have done this. I should have done that. And there's all these things, and they're all pulling at me in different directions. So
that's when it's time to get grounded.
This one helped exactly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get grounded, and we're going to go right into the heart energy center, and we're going to use a sound. But before we do that, I just invite you just to close your eyes, please. Close your eyes. Receive a breath in your body. Notice your body. Just notice absolutely everything that you can notice about your body. Notice how the breath comes in. Notice how deeply it goes into the body. Even receive a nice deep breath down into your belly. Let it just rise up into the chest. And float it right up through and over the head, and just feel that, just release. And drop your mouth open and just release. And see how it feels in your body to do that. And notice what's going on in your body. Is there tension? Just release. If you were to put your body and how it feels on a scale of 0 to 10, where would you put it? 10 means everything is running so smoothly. Does anybody want to share? Just notice where you put it there, okay? And I invite you to use your breath again and just notice if there is tension, if there's something that is calling to you in your body. Just continue to breathe in to your body and explore it. Just notice, just allow it to be there. Remember, what you can feel, you can heal. So just allow it to be there. Just breathe in. And notice, does it have a shape? And how big a shape does it have? Just be an observer. How dense is it? Does it move? How does it move? And just continue to breathe into it. And allow it to be what it's doing, what it's feeling. Yeah, and notice if it wants to if you have any discomfort, just say to yourself, I give this discomfort permission to release. Because sometimes, when we're talking about the conscious and the subconscious, the conscious mind gives direction, but the subconscious has got this idea, it needs to hold this and not let it come up. So you're giving it permission consciously to release. Now let that breath come in and see if it can breathe down a little deeper. Right down into the pelvic bowl, because that's what turns on your parasympathetic system, which is your healing response, which is the relaxation response. Nothing heals unless this system is on. And the easiest way to turn it on is to make sure you're breathing into your belly. But most of us don't breathe into our belly. So just breathe into the belly, into the chest. Imagine the breath coming up over the head and just release and let go again. And feel your hips. Feel your hips right where you are. Feel them on the chair. Let them soften into the chair. Feel the support. And then allow that energy to stream down from your hips. Imagine waterfalls or roots or beams of energy. Just to let it go down into the earth. And let your hips soften and sink even more. And then draw the energy from the earth all the way up through the soles of your feet, through your legs, through your hips, and draw it right up into your heart center. And then just release from your heart center out the top of your head. Just feel like you're a dolphin, you're spouting it. And then as it releases, your skin and your muscles just fall around the frame of your body while you feel yourself held upright. And return to focus on the heart center. I'm going to show you, I call this my magic button. It's right in the center of your chest. If you take your middle finger and you draw it over from the armpit, it's right there. Just press that magic button in the center of your chest for a moment. Or just think of it. It's called the Sea of Tranquility in acupressure. And just breathe, and breathe as if you're drawing the breath right into the heart center from all around, from the whole sphere around, just like it's a big ball and you're drawing right into the heart center. And then releasing, breathe through your mouth or through your nose and release through your nose. And just feel that expanding. And then drawing that in again. The next one. And then releasing out and expanding again. And let it be nice and easy. Go at your pace. This is a tool, by the way, that comes from Heart Math Institute. It's a wonderful way to center yourself when you're feeling pulled off emotionally or any other way. So just draw the breath in and out and continue to breathe in and out through the heart center. And just feel like you're igniting your own inner star, your own inner center, and it's just shining and releasing this beautiful energy that goes through every cell, every muscle, every tissue, even out into your auric field. And as you do this, what is happening is that the heart is the boss in the body, and the heart has an electromagnetic field that's so much large, 5,000 times the size of the brains. And as the heart comes into coherence with everything working in perfect synchronicity, this exercise brings it into that. The heart also regulates everything else in the body. So just notice how that feels. And let it release up through your head and down through the bottom of your feet even. Let it release. Okay. So I did a little bit more than I was thinking I would to lead us into this Chinese vibrational healing sound, which is whenever we're feeling impatient, drawn to do this or pulled in one direction or another, just put your hands in front of your heart center like this. If you put them together and then just apart a bit. So it makes kind of a diamond, an open diamond in front of the heart center. Let your muscles relax and feel into that heart center. And you're going to make a sound, and the sound is ah. And all you're acknowledging as you do this the first time is any impatience to be in any other moment than right now. because all the healing power that you want is in this moment only. So just release any temptation to be anywhere else and use the sound awe. Deep breath in. And what's most important is not the volume or anything else. It's the vibration that you can feel in your chest. So breathe in and just do receive another breath. Come right into the heart center. And do it again. Now this time, bring in a color. If you have any concern about your heart, if your heart is tender or you have troubles with it, use the color pink. And if you feel confident with your heart's health, you can use the color red. So just bring in that color and let it radiate through. Again. And now bring in divine love, the highest love that you can ever imagine. Just bring that right in. Just relax. Feel yourself held as if you're held by a cord of light, held upright. Allow the breath to return to the belly, deep into the belly, the parasympathetic system turning on. Moving up to the chest, up in the head, and just release again. Let that energy just flow down. And notice if you had discomfort in your body and the level that your body was feeling, where's it at now? That's the question.
Mine's better, actually, now that you say that. It is. It is. I was noticing that my neck was stiff when you were saying feel into it. You said, what shape is it? And I pictured this big knife, like a big blade and the handle going right kind of like through there, even though it wasn't a severe pain. It was just like, you said, where's the discomfort? That's where I felt it. It feels much better now, you little turkey. Nice one.
Well, you did it.
Yeah.
It's just releasing, because 75% of pain is because we resist feeling. Remember when we talked about shoving that pain down at the very, very beginning? 75% of the pain that we feel is because we're contracting and pushing it down, and when we stop doing this, and this can move. Does anybody else want to share? Wilf or Donna?
I'm just listening.
Okay.
You go ahead. You're doing a much better job than we can.
Well, you know what's really interesting is that sometimes the best thing in the world, like who here has been dealing, if not now, you deal with pain that moves around your body. Maybe it's comes and stays for a while, or how many people are dealing with some kind of pain that comes in? at some time.
When we wake up in the middle of the night with the pain, wherever you are, hopefully you can hear us say, "Oh."
Yeah. Yes. And you know what? You don't have to wake up your partner to do that. You can even do that in your mind. So you can just do that and feel it. And you actually can feel that and feel some release, and you're working with that. But of course, I like it when I can use the sound, and it doesn't have to be awe, because whatever you're experiencing is a different, there's nothing wrong with what you're experiencing. And sometimes the sound doesn't want to sound like, oh, sometimes it's like, ah! So you can let the sound move in your body as it will move, and relax the body and feel the energy opening and moving.
You know what the acid test is going to be is when I have the rheumatoid arthritis take over my feet, my knee. I'm going to find out whether this year all works or not.
Yeah, for sure. And so does anybody else have any use it, Wilf. And you know what? I'm not saying that it's going to necessarily disappear like that, or that but it can release it, and it can help it so much just to focus on breathing and relaxing, and remember that when we resist feeling it, and just challenge yourself to feel into it more. How does it feel? What does it feel like?
It's going to be a good acid test, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it will. But don't wait for the acid test. Like when
I
you
have it every day.
Sorry?
I say I have inflammation in the knee, and
Yeah.
if he gets bad, I can hardly walk on them. So I have that every day, so I'll have it.
So do you feel it now? Did you feel it as we went through that?
I've not been on my feet today that much.
Okay.
I've been a good boy today.
So when you started, what was your body feeling? What was that assessment? Scale of 0 to 10.
You got me off guard on that one. I didn't have pain or anything like that at all.
Okay, so you didn't notice that. So there's nothing really to gauge it against.
No, I have no gauge tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one of the ways to be able to really release some the pain when it does come in too is to be able to share it. So let me see another show of hands, because I'm wondering whether we're on the right topic here for what you're wanting to be working with tonight.
Show of hands for what question, Maggie?
So who is wanting to have tools to release some pain from their body, or
Well, you got quite a few takers there, I think.
Yeah, well, there are some. So those people who are looking for that, did you notice any shift in the pain in your body as we went through that?
Does anybody want to make a comment to Maggie? You'll have to unmute yourself.
I see James is unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I felt a little bit of a decrease in discomfort.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And every little bit counts, because we can get better at doing this as we go along. Yeah.
Actually, that's a great point, because sometimes just a little bit of change, now the thing's moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that energy that's stuck there that's causing the pain is starting to move. So even a little bit, we're going in the right direction, and we can keep going. Like I said, practice, right?
Mm-hmm. And movement is healing. Like when it's moving, and sometimes when pain comes up, it's also about being able to really feel it and allow it to be there. Like when I stub my toe, there's a huge difference between when I stub my toe and I keep doing whatever I needed to do, because usually I stubbed it because I was in a hurry in the first place. So when I stub it and then I keep going towards something and I don't stop to really feel it, my toe will respond very differently. I'll have a great big bruise, but if I stub it and I feel that pain shooting through my toe, then I will just stop and feel. Often I do a little figure 8 over it, breathe, allow. I don't make it wrong. I don't try to cover it up. I don't try to pretend it's not there. And it clears very, very quickly. So that's what I encourage, is for the first thing, just to remember, if there's one thing that you really remember, is that what I can feel, I can heal. And when that grip of that pain, whether it's emotional or physical or how it's gripping, releases, because we feel emotional pain too, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, emotional pain. And lots of people, when don't necessarily even feel it in their body because they've numbed to feeling the emotional pain in the body. So what I can feel, I can heal. But if I resist it, it will persist. And if I can get right into there and just breathe into it, remembering to breathe down into the belly, turn on the parasympathetic system, and then just release. And let it feel, let yourself feel what you're feeling with it. So one of the things I wanted to do in the breakout room was to actually be able to break into pairs and be able to really say, this is what's going on for me, because I thought that people coming to this would want, everybody would be looking for tools to work with pain. And so what I would like to do, because I'd like to know, what is it that you are here most to learn, to discover? What drew you to this? And to one thing that I really hope I'll get out of this is, and to practice listening to one another. Like I work with circles, they call them communication circles. And we set them up in ways that people can share their heart. And actually, we don't know what's happening in our heart until we share it. That's the trick. We don't know what's happening in our heart until we share it. So we often don't know who we are until we share it. We have to share who we are to know who we are. And so a step in doing that is to be able to create an environment where people agree to just listen. Just listen to the person who is speaking, and when they've and bring all the attention that you can to that idea of just being present and listening. And when they finish, your partner finishes speaking, you can just say, really, I hear you. That's it. I hear you. I got it. I hear you, and feel it. Don't ask questions. Don't make excuses. It doesn't have to be about giving any kind of advice, for sure. Because when people have any kind of pain or going through something, even an emotional pain, sometimes it's very, the last thing I want is somebody to give me advice. Oh, if you just did this, or if you just did that, or if you just corrected this and that wasn't happening, you'd be doing so much better. And that's not the way it works for me. So, and most people don't appreciate that. So, but listening, if we can listen and just respond with, I hear you, And you can say perhaps the gist of what you heard, just a quick summary without any judgment whatsoever. So I wanted to be able to practice that, listening with a partner. And I was going to practice it with regard to the chronic, to the pain. But so what kind of pain or what kind of discomfort are we dealing with, right? Is it an emotional discomfort, or is it just in the body what happens to me? So, and I'm realizing that might not work that well. That might put some people on the spot more than they want to talk about any kind of emotional pain or physical pain, and just be heard, and really to talk for only a minute and a half, and just to see how that feels for somebody to be able to hear.
Okay, so what is it that, so if I'm the one talking, we're going to be in pairs, right?
Yeah.
And so if it, let's say it was you and me, and so let's say it was my turn to talk and your turn to listen. What would I be? You said there was 2 questions you wanted us to answer. What was it again?
Well, just what is it that you experience with the pain? But I think, you know what, I'm going to change that, because I'm not feeling like that's where we're at. And there's people here who aren't experiencing that.
Because at first you said you wanted us to talk about what drew you here and what do you want to get out of it.
And that's what I want to know.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm feeling that was not the question. So what drew you here, and what would you like to get out of this evening? And if you can share that with your partner, and your partner can really say, okay, I hear you. You want to get boom, and say it in 15 seconds, like sort of summarize, so that I know that you've heard me when I speak. And then they can speak, and I can reflect back to them. I hear you. You're here to get this. So just take a minute and a half, and I will do my best to let you know when to switch partners. I'll just send out a message that says switch partners, and just what are you here for? And let that partner speak about what are you wanting to get out of this online seminar. Okay? Are we clear?
Okay, so there's James and his wife are together. Is it possible to have them in one room, the 2 of them together, and Wilf and Donna, they're together in one room? Or how's this going to work? What do you think, Maggie?
Yeah, you know what, I'm hoping that we can do that. I haven't done this with the breakout rooms, Jackie. So they can answer each other. It is more challenging when it's on Zoom. But they can listen to each other. But the most important thing, especially with partners, is that they listen and don't give advice.
No advice. Okay.
No advice. Just listen. Don't give any advice. Find out what it is that you're wanting to what your partner wants to receive. And then it's your turn. So
another group is Tracy, and she has a partner with her. So we have 3 places where they have a partner with them. So I don't know if you'll be able to put them in one room or not, but I'm just mentioning it. We're slightly limited with this breakout room technology.
So the breakout room technologies. Well, you know what? Since we're just talking about what do you want to get out of this, if 2 of you land with one other person, just have a 3-way conversation.
Sounds perfect.
Just really, really listen to one another. That's all. Just really listen.
You're going to signal us how long, and then we switch?
Yeah. And so one person just speaks for a minute and a half. So when you get in your breakout room, somebody will decide to be A and somebody will decide to be B. And once you get there, there won't be any other instructions. So A, you're going to speak. And B, you're going to listen. And then you know, and I really encourage you, you'll see a minute and a half can even be quite a long time.
Mhm.
But so just speak about that. This is what drew me here. And if you do have chronic pain or you are here for something like that, for a reason with that, then talk about what it is you're really experiencing. Because this is so healing to be able to have someone really hear what you're experiencing without having to fix it, without giving you any advice. So that's a big thing. No advice, no fixing. Speak for a minute and a half. Why are you here? And if that involves something that you're dealing with specifically, like physical or like pain of any kind, then just speak about it and let the other person just say, I hear you. Got it. And then we'll switch partners. And I will send a message out to switch partners at a minute and a half. Okay?
Okay, and I'm going to pause the recording for this part, everyone. So whatever you say is absolutely confidential, and I'll start the recording once we finish this exercise.
Okay. Oh, okay. So we're recording again. Here we go. Yeah. I do apologize for people that the breakout room didn't quite work the way we wanted, but what we were really looking for there was just an acknowledgement that when we can speak about that, and Helen, I'm glad that you spoke in that way about what you felt with the energy moving and the colors and the shapes and everything that you felt, that when you can feel, you can heal. And to have a listener there who's not going to give advice and not going to make judgment or any of that sort of thing is just one of the greatest gifts ever, because it feels good that I can share that. And I've worked with people who had, one person who I worked with had chronic pain for a long, long time in her back. And we were working, and all I was doing was really hearing what she had said and and feeding back to her, so what else would you do to describe that? And it just was, she said in the end, I just have never had anybody really listen to me about this. So that alone can really release a lot of pain by having a listener and by being able to just feel it to heal it. So I'm wondering, does anybody else have anything they'd like to say in terms of what they'd like, what expectations for tonight you're looking for? Any specific questions? Otherwise, I'd like to share a few other vibrational releases that can be a lot of fun.
Barbara has her hand up, Barbara Botham, but you'll have to unmute, Barbara.
I just wanted to make an observation. When you were talking about all the emotions and things, reminding us that the emotions settle in parts of the body, I'm thinking I don't have any physical issues right now, thank God. But I'm thinking there's a lot of emotional things going on right now because we're in this sort of chaotic energies. And I'm wondering if we can apply this same thing to the emotional states that we are finding ourselves in, and put our attention there and breathe into that so that we can calm ourselves and ground ourselves and think.
Absolutely. Thank you, Barbara. That's the perfect question for what I would want it to share. And that is that. I remember we started with the 5 Chinese vibrational healing sounds and the organs they connect with. And the first was the heart and the whole idea of impatience and bringing in love. Well, how many people find that the worry circuit is going crazy over and over? And it's just like, and here's the thing is when we worry, what are we worrying about? We're trying to reorganize what to do out there with an event or people or a relationship in order to be okay in here. And we're worrying and we're trying to control. And anything that you try to control controls you. That's one of the big consciousnesses that is up right now, is that if I'm trying to control something, that controls me. Lots of people who 85% of their time is consumed with their current issue, and they're always trying to control something in that, and that's what keeps it going. So how do we let go of that? How do we let go of worry? And when we do let go of the worry inside, then often things shift on the outside. So for example, I was getting a motorhome ready for a friend, and we were going to go camping. And I thought, well, I'll just plug this motorhome right inside to the RV. And of course, I blew not just the motorhome, but I blew the vacuum cleaner too. That I was going to clean it. And so I immediately went into my worry. Oh my God, what have I done? How could I be so stupid? How is it about that worry circuit? And then I remembered the vibrational worry sound. So I'm going to invite everybody to do this. Just you can do this sitting or you can do it standing. I'll just stand so you can see. So put your feet on the ground and feel yourself grounded. And like I say, you can still do it sitting, but some people like to do it standing. And then just point your hands so that they're pointed down toward the floor at a 45-degree angle from where you are. And feel yourself held as if you're held by this cord of light. Soften the knees or feel your hips on the chair, whatever you're doing. And the worry is in the spleen, and the spleen is to the left of the belly button and it runs up. So when I did this before, I could feel like there was cellophane that was covering my face and all the way down my front, right down to my knees. So just imagine and feel energy running in here. Imagine that worry is there. And we're just going to use the sound O. And I want you to see how much vibration can you get by using the sound O. Just open up and drop your jaw and vibrate. Imagine it vibrating there. Let's go. Big, deep breath in and oh. Another one, just acknowledging the worry. Oh, if you can actually think about something you worry about, just briefly let it be there and acknowledge the worry and bring in the color yellow. Oh, I like to think of yellow sunlight just streaming through. It feels to me like my body is like a temple, and that yellow sunlight is just streaming through. Feel it and vibrate it. Oh. And now bring in openness. Openness. Just bring in a sense of openness. Oh. One more with a sense of openness. Oh. And the idea is, of course, as we do this, that you focus all your attention on the vibration, and it's not spinning the stories anymore, because the stories just spin and spin and spin and spin and get more confusing. So feel into the body and just notice, how did that feel? Any responses to that feeling?
Felt pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting as we go through the vibrational healing responses or sounds, the quality that we bring in seems really appropriate. Like, because worry is worry, we get into this worry kind of fix. And when we bring in openness, we can really lay back and just allow that to open us to new possibilities. Releasing. So we're releasing from the body. How many people are, yes, Linda.
Whenever I'm working on something like we just did in your previous awe, all I do is yawn and yawn. That's why I close my picture off. What's happening?
That's beautiful, because yawning is the most underrated way to release for the body, the best tool the body has in many ways. It honestly can release emotion in a way nothing else stretches this eustachian tube like yawning. And this is what I mean, like, think of all the ways that we've shut the body down. Don't yawn, don't burp, don't fart, like, and these are ways that really deep emotional release often comes when people are in a deep emotional release, when they're following that emotion deep into their body, they will yawn, burp, or fart lots.
Thank goodness mine's yawning.
Yeah.
But if my picture disappears, I'm yawning.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah, yeah. So, and yawning is a great way just to release anyway. So when you're feeling, do you know that's the only thing a cheetah does before it leaps into action at 55 miles an hour? One big body yawn. And
Really?
lots of times when I work with people, when they yawn, it's just, I have one client who came back after about 3 years and she says, man, as soon as I sit down and you start talking, I hear your voice, I start yawning. And she's release, release, release. Sometimes I yawn to the point where I just tears, I'm soaked. So
You
really
can
indulge the
you
yawn.
can combine the yawning with stretching, and that is effective.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I agree. Do you have a favorite stretch with the yawn, or just anything that comes to you, Ed?
Yeah. See?
Yeah, anything that comes to you. Just feel the whole body in that stretch. Oh, let the yawn. Everybody try it. The biggest, nastiest yawn you ever could imagine. Just even if you fake it, you can do it. Oh. And a great way to get energy moving in the body and to join the subconscious and the conscious mind, because there's a door that it goes through, the flap that it comes through, the critical mind, the hypothalamus, and actually right down from the base of the spine, there's a sound that we can make to wake up the vagus nerve, because the vagus nerve carries the most, it's the longest nerve in the body because it runs all throughout our torso and right down deep into the belly. So let's do this now. Let's try it. Let's stimulate the vagus nerve, because the vagus nerve will bring balance and get the conscious and the subconscious mind working together. And it feels wonderful. But the key to this is enjoy the feeling. So we're going to use sound again, and we're going to slide down the body from, imagine the base of the brain, and just use a sound like, oh. Go ahead and try it. Just feel it. Close your eyes if you want to feel it deeper. And just slide down the body, right? See if you get that vibration going in the body. And just move that vibration around in your body now for a moment. Just move it. See where you can move it to. Oh, I have a story called Butterfly Breath, and the caterpillar that's in the cocoon and transforming into a butterfly is doing that. Oh, it's a great way to get kids to release stress. Oh, just hum it through your body. And bring the vibration up into your head now, and use the sound zzz and feel like that's vacuuming out your brain and all into all of the crevices of the skull and deep into the mouth and the jaw and the eyes. Just zzz. You can feel like it's a vacuum, or you can feel like it's a laser. Zzz. And move it around, and notice how you can move your consciousness around by just directing it. Feel it move. Explore all the areas of the brain. Just notice how that feels. It's a great way to get the left and the right brain working together, when you can feel like you're actually lacing up over the corpus callosum. Just lace it up. And waking all these areas up. How's that feel?
My mouth is buzzing now.
Yeah.
Like all the cells are going.
Cool. Yeah.
No, it feels nice, and you can definitely feel it going through your body as I put my attention in different spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely moving there.
Yes, because health is flowing. So as soon as we move, and sometimes we think, I can't do anything. The pain has got me, or I feel sick, but actually if we stop and we start to really work with some of these ways to help the body return to its natural state, can help a lot. Okay, let's do one, because I think fear is a really, really big issue, and I just find that this is so helpful in releasing fear. And fear, what you'll do is you'll put your arms behind you. If you're on a chair that this doesn't work, you might have to sit forward, or you might have to stand up, but you're going to press your arms as if I was pressing against something that I'm going to lean into. And my knees are soft. And I'm just pressing back. And fear is all in the back. It's in the kidneys. When you think about it, lots of times, have you ever been out for a walk or something, you think something's behind you and you just you're doing this thing anyway? That's where fear is. It's in the back. It's in an on guard position. So the sound for fear is ooh, ooh, you. So just feel it in the kidneys. Press your arms back, relax your knees, direct your attention to the back, and do the sound. You. Do it again, just acknowledging fear. Not trying to pretend it isn't there, but to acknowledge that it's there. And now bring in the color of blue. And I often like to think I can feel blue sky coming through, and it's as if the clouds of fear are dispersing. So bring in the color blue. Feel that blue until you get clear blue sky. Do it again. See how deeply you can vibrate it into your back and even into your body. I had a pregnant lady who was just dealing with so much fear one time, and I said, hold, just feel like you're holding your child, and you're letting it release as well, and vibrating right down deep into there. And the quality we want to bring in now is gentleness. just like holding a frightened child. Gentleness. Beautiful. And just relax. And notice how you feel. Inner smile. Any comments on that one?
I like that vibrating feeling that I have. I'm going to do that even when I'm not in your class, I think. I like that. That feels good. I could see incorporating that into my morning routine, just doing a little bit of chanting like that. That vibration. I remember hearing that those rebounders, if you jump on one of those tiny trampolines people have, those home ones,
Yeah.
the thing that's good about it is by jumping up and down gently on the rebounder, it vibrates every cell in your body.
Yeah.
It vibrates them. And so then it kind of loosens the cells up so they're not like stuck to each other.
Yeah.
And so they can flow more freely and do their elimination, assimilation, whatever the cells are doing there.
Yes.
And that's what my body feels like right now from that vibrational toning you had us do, is that everything's vibrating. That's got to be a good thing.
Yeah. And you know what is happening today is with fear is that we're all trying to change something out there. And really what's happening out there is a reflection of what's going on in here. And when I am trying to change something out there, I'm usually more fearful because I believe that unless that changes, I can't be okay right here and now. But really, if we send out a vibration of peace, of well-being, of wholeness, of connection with our body, it's the very best thing we can do in these times. It's the very best thing we can do because we are sending out a vibration that is a higher vibration than fear. Fear is those are low vibrations. I know some people, I'm sure, have read that book, Power versus Force, or looked at David Hawkins' work where he measures all of the different vibrations and where they're at. And if I'm in peace and enlightenment, I'm vibrating at 10,000. But if I'm in fear, it's going to be way lower than that. And shame is like only 40. And so it's fear. So just think about this. If the world is formed with vibration and we can get together and we can vibrate at this higher rate, we can vibrate ourselves into peace and send that out, that's going to be picked up everywhere. And there's really nothing that's going to be more powerful than that, because the world begins with where we are at in the first place. And so we vibrate these vibrations out. So often with the vibration of releasing fear, I can feel the peace moving in. And it feels really, really wonderful to do that. Let's release sadness, huh? If you've got any sadness that you're feeling, I really want to release this. You know, there's something could be said about the wailing wall. And the wailing wall is about wailing, letting the sound out for sadness. I went through a very deep sadness not very long ago, because something wasn't working in one of my special relationships in my family. And it's just, I had to let go. I had to let go of what I thought that person needed to be doing for me to be special in the relationship. And so I just felt it. I just felt the sadness deeply and completely, deep into the lungs. And this is the upper lungs. And the stance is like this. You just put your hands pointed up, both sides, and you use the sound of A, and you just recognize sadness and let this part of you vibrate. sadness. Let it vibrate. And then you bring in white light. And now bring in courage.
Maggie, we lost your volume there. Don't know why.
Can you hear me now?
I can just barely hear you. We've had absolutely fantastic sound up until this about 30 seconds ago when I told you.
I don't know what it is. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's the same. I can't imagine that you touched anything on your screen while you were saying A with your hands up.
I'm way back here. So can you hear me now? Do I need to speak louder?
That's better. Sorry. We lost,
Jackie. I don't know what to do when
no, we lost 80% of your volume, at least. I don't know why. But we can hear you, so everyone will just have to really pay attention.
Okay, well, let's hear you. You do the A. Everybody do A. One more time. Bring in courage. Courage. Beautiful. Okay, there's one more emotion that I want to share with you that is a body release, and it's anger. Anybody ever have trouble with anger? Releasing anger? Holy smokes. Yeah. So this one, the sound is shh, and anger is in the liver. So what you do with this sound is you bring your fists out in front of you and upward. So they're turned up, and you're just going to make the sound of shh. You're just going to let yourself feel this anger. And when I am angry, I'll tell you, this has been a saving grace, because it's not that loud as other things can be when I get angry and upset. And I go out and ground myself, and I just feel it. I just say, it's okay to feel this anger, but I'm not going to hold it inside me. And I'm not going to project it out onto this person, because then it just blows up and there's a great big argument that ensues. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring this anger in toward my rib cage. So I'm just going to use the sound. So do that with me. Now bring in the color green. Often I like to think I'm in a dark green stormy sea. And as I'm going, I'm rowing to shore. And the green is becoming lighter, clearer. And bring in kindness. Bring in kindness. Bring in kindness. And there you have the vibrational releases. Those very powerful Chinese vibrational releases, helping you to feel it, to heal it. So when we're working with trauma and that sort of thing, what I like to do is to have people experience the tools so that they know that they can release this from the body, whatever comes up. Because when I'm triggered, there is a body response. I want you to notice next time, instead of trying to say, what am I going to do? How am I going to change this? How do I change these people? How do I get them to do something different? If you are triggered, I want you to go, first of all, where is it in my body? Where is it in my body? And just feel it. Let yourself feel it. Use your heart acupressure point that we talked about. Press that point. That will help your heart to regulate right away, and feel it in the body. Just breathe and feel. Because if you go into what needs to change, how do I change this? And we start intellectualizing things, often we end up justifying why we are angry, or we justify why we're sad. And what you justify, you keep. You get to keep it. Argue for your limitations or your justifications, and you get to keep them. And what we want with emotion is that it runs through the body, that we are able to actually release that emotion and let it flow through, because that's what it is. We receive emotions with fear, then it's like love and fear aren't even necessarily an emotion. Love and fear are like a state of being that we receive the emotional information from our body with. And if we receive that emotional information from our body with fear, we either go, oh, not supposed to do that, not supposed to yawn, not supposed to feel that, not supposed to act out, and we shove it down, or we project it. We try to eject it from our body, from ourself, or project it onto someone else, or stuff it down so it doesn't ever come out, but it gets stuck. And that is the case of disease. That is what happens when these traumas are felt and they get stuck inside our body. So we want to be able to release it by feeling it, by allowing it to be there. And then we receive the emotion with love, because love is always accepting. Love is always accepting. I accept this pain. I accept this anger. I accept it. And I'm going to let it move through my body. And as you have more and more success in doing that, then like with the hypnotherapy and the way to release an old trauma and to get back into that is to actually follow that anger. So if it's anger that came up and something has triggered you and it reminds you of something that went on in your relationship with your ex or something like that, then you can feel that trauma, you can feel that emotion, notice where it is in the body. And when we start working with hypnotherapy and even with yourself, just feel it and just let yourself feel whatever comes up. We can ride that trauma back to another time and another place that has everything to do with this trigger. And when we land in that place, we then work with the child, or we work with the earlier version of you. And we come back on that on that eternal self, because that's all part of the eternal self. So we then ride back in and we feel, and we help the child feel that. We let the child express what they were feeling. We let the child release through the body and say what they wanted to say. And when that happens, it's like they pop into that other dimension that I was describing to you when we first started, which I recognized as moving into this space of its spaciousness. It's like the spacious self holds everything. And when I'm in that spacious self, I can allow the body to release anger. I can let the emotions go. I can hold it all, because love holds all of it. It's like popping off of the battlefield. But the thing that's holding us on a battlefield are these emotions. They are what is holding us to the battlefield. When I'm angry and I want to justify it, I am going to be stuck in that. When I'm sad and I can't just let it move through me, I'm stuck in that. I'm stuck. And I feel like I'm a victim. I don't feel like I'm a spacious creator at all. I feel like I'm a victim. But if I can release it from the body, there's a peace and there's a gentleness and there's an understanding that comes in. And I have seen people, you know, finally truly forgive some of the most difficult things that I can imagine forgiving sometimes, because they pop out and they are no longer identifying with themselves as a victim. They're no longer holding that. And because we have gone into the body and we have released that emotion and that tension from the body and we opened up that vagus nerve. That's what we were working with to begin with, to do the because what happens in trauma is like there's a trap door up there, and it's like, oh my God, look what's happening. And everything in the body goes into chaos. And the thing is, it might subside out there, but that door is shut and it's still in chaos until we can go back in and let it know it's okay now. That isn't happening anymore. You don't have to worry about daddy coming home drunk or, you know, whatever the thing is. We can relax, but it's the body that needs to relax, because we can understand it intellectually as much as we want to understand it. But until we can actually apply it and relax the body and let that child feel power, that's what it's about. It's about power. It's about returning power to the self. And our whole journey here, it seems to me, on this earth has been about being taught to give our authority to someone else from the very, very beginning. And I believe that that's what we're really coming into right now, is that we want to be able to take back our true authority, take back our power.
Well, that is the new paradigm then. That's what you're talking about. That's awesome. That's totally awesome.
That is the new paradigm. And
I love it. What a great way to say it. Return power to the self. That's so inclusive. Yeah, sorry.
It's beautiful, Jackie.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing, because when that power comes back and that child realizes they had that power, then they are, whoa, many times it's thank you for giving me the opportunity. Because if we think of things from a soul level, and we think we're a soul and we want to experience our power, we want to, you know, we come in and we think we're going to be able to do this easily, but we forget. We have this big veil of forgetting that goes through, and we forget who we are. We forget we're an infinite being on a human journey. And when we forget that, we start to feel ourselves very small and needing to go along. And then we come into this culture that teaches us to give up our power. And yeah, the fastest way to release that and come back to the power that I have found is through the body. And then the child can release, and the child can forgive and truly say, thank you for giving me this opportunity to realize true power. Because true power is very different than control. It's very different than force. It doesn't need anything to substantiate it. We just are it. We are in it. And I do want to share with you a book that has been so dear to my heart. I said at the beginning, I was working with A Course in Miracles, and I worked with it for a long time, and I really got some miracles, because a miracle is a shift in perception when I no longer perceive myself as the victim, as the small being in this big world, and everybody's doing everything to me. When I can shift and see that, wow, this is my choice. I do have a choice here. Then I shift into the infinite self. And one of my greatest, one of the books I love the most is this one now. It's called A Course of Love. And it is written as well by Jesus and a receiver by Marie Perrin. And I love what everything that Jesus is really talking about in this book is about being ready to feel our feelings, accept our feelings, use the body as a learning device, and truly be able to shift our perception so that we are not perceiving things from the battlefield. Because right now, folks, I mean, I just see that there's a huge battle that seems to be going on Earth. And I think that that battle is like a table. And it doesn't matter which side you're on. It's a battle. And it's not nice to even be the winner on the battlefield, as far as I'm concerned, because you're just surrounded by death and dying on a battlefield. So the way that I see that we are going to be able to release and raise our vibration and create the new earth is by getting off of the battlefield. And the tools that I gave you tonight that I've shared with you are tools that have helped me and hundreds of people that I work with get off of the battlefield and move into this place of peace and space and power, true power. And here Jesus says, when finally all of the power that we have given and sought in our politics, in our medicine, in our science, when all of that is proved unfounded, we will seek a new kind of power within ourselves with the greatest tenacity ever. With the same tenacity that we experience that other. So this is such a way, using our body as a navigational device is such a way for us to return to our power and to stop struggling, because when the energy is flowing, I'm not struggling. When I'm present, when I'm here, I'm not struggling. Most of our struggle, how much of your struggle comes from struggling to be this image? I mean, I can tell you, I went to tons of classes that said, create the ideal image of yourself. And in this book, Jesus really woke me up to that and said, well, I said, don't create idols. And there's no greater idol than your own self-image, your own ideal image of yourself. Because that ideal image, I've watched her. She has a critic working for her who is heartless, who is always telling me how I don't measure up, when I don't measure up, what's going to happen and how it's going to be. And and lately I've discovered a defense lawyer who argues for my own victimization. Does anybody feel that? Like had somebody who always says, yeah, but you know what? It's okay, dear. You can't do it anyway. You can't. It's not power. So just releasing the idea of an ideal image, releasing the idea that you have to be anywhere but right here, right now, in this eternal present moment that holds everything. It holds absolutely everything. If I am here right now in this moment, can I create the vibration of peace, of love? Can I accept the other vibrations and let them pass through me if I'm not feeling peace and love, of grouchiness, of sadness, of frustration? Can I just accept them? And the easiest way, because when we accept them, that is receiving them with love. And then they move through us. And then we aren't going to take them and turn them against us or against someone else. So working with the body as a navigational device. Learn to love it, learn to listen to it. Set your intention to just feel what it wants to do, know where it wants to move, and what it's saying to you. Because truthfully, what we come up with is, if I'm triggered by something, maybe it's a thought. Okay, as soon as I think, I don't know what to do here, that's the thought, I feel panic in my body. And if I just stay in that panic and I don't know what to do here, my mind goes crazy, does it not? But if instead I go, okay, where is it in my body? Let me just feel it to heal it. I will bring myself back to the body. Remember the magic point. Feel it. And don't try to do anything out there about the emotional disturbance. Work with it here first. Because if you're going to try to change somebody out there because you're emotionally disturbed and you don't believe you can be okay until they do what you want them to do, you're in for eternal struggle. That's what it is.
Are you trying to say the only person you can change is yourself?
Absolutely. And even then, don't try to change yourself so much as accept what's there.
Accept.
And value this body. This body is precious. It navigates you through life. Keep the energy flowing, keep the energy moving, keep everything rolling. And I think, oh, it's 9:11 on my clock.
I know you got on a roll there.
That seems to
You're
be
just all fired up. I can see the steam coming off you, little volcano going inside. It's like I'm on a roll now.
I'm pretty passionate about it. I am very passionate about this. I like to get it going, and I like to help people to be able to trace whatever trauma is in life and release it, because you know what? That's holding us down. That's not going with us to the next level. If we've got any emotional ties that are holding us down, we're going to be there. So use these tools to release. I do have on my website, which is maggiereigh.com. I am offering right now, anyway, for the first 5 people anyway, because I'll need to schedule, but a free emotional empowerment session. So if you've got something in your life that is really bothering you, you got something you know you'd like to let go of that you didn't let go of, that is pulling you down a bit, come and we will work personally in a 45-minute session that I'm just offering so that you can learn to start to move this energy. Maybe it's pain. Sometimes I have people who just want to work with the physical pain, and it's amazing what happens. But lots of times it's a fear that they know they've got, and boy, oh boy, everything's coming up right now, and we're not being let off the hook with it.
Well, that's really nice, Maggie. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for offering that to everybody on the Zoom that's on here now. And if they don't take you up on that, then somebody from the replay may.
Yeah, certainly. Just go Maggie Reigh. You can see my name there. It's spelled like that, .com. It's really quite simple if you get the spelling right. And just
oh, that's so awesome.
Tag me or phone me. My phone number's there. I'm okay with phone. I feel like that's a connection that works for me. I'm old fashioned that way, I guess. But so feel free to do that. And I would really like to just feel some energy moving in the body and leave everybody with a sense of a lighter body, something that is, get that energy moving around. You will feel better. Remember, movement is healing. Feeling is healing. So I invite you, does anybody have any questions before we end? Anything you would like to say?
One question came up. They were wondering where they could find out a little bit more information about the energy release points, the 5 energy healings, Chinese vibrational energy sounds that you were referring to. They wonder, that was one question that came up.
Yeah. You know what? If you contact me, I can send you. I learned those particular ones from Harold Hajima, and yeah, so I have a little stickman drawing of that. Anybody who wants to now that you've done it, you'll be able to see the stick bend drawing. I can pass that along. Also, if you just do Chinese vibrational healing sounds, they have others. They aren't identical to those ones, and those ones I really like. So I've actually looked for those myself, and I know that you can find a lot of people online who are doing Chinese vibrational healing sounds, or you can come back to this video and do them again.
That's a great idea. They can
You
check
can
out the
come back
replay.
here and just do them, because you know what?
Great idea, yeah.
They'll change your life when you do them. I know I'm a redhead originally. I still have quite a bit of red left. And that anger, that I have a real quick thing that goes like this, and this shh has saved me a lot of trouble. Right. Right. So we want to be able to work with those as well and feel it to heal it. Remember, if you resist, it's going to persist. Yeah. And if you suppress, somebody else is going to express it. So it is just the greatest healing that has come to my life, to be able to heal it, to feel it.
Nice.
So I would like us, let's get in our bodies, because really lots of times we're not in our bodies hardly at all. We just use them to carry our head around, and there's so much emphasis put on the intellect, and there's so much, like, that's what we need to do, is that we don't get right into the body. So let's just feel that in the body. Stand up. I encourage you to stand up, because Jackie is going to be bringing in a little bit of music. I just couldn't do this without taking advantage of her music skills. Is the sound okay with me right now? Can you?
I almost told, when it came back on, about 3 or 4 minutes, no more than 5 minutes. It's all good again.
Okay.
Your
good.
sound, we just dropped right off, but it's been great for quite a while now.
Yeah.
But you were on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt you to tell you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. And so, Jackie, just wait a second. Let's get
wait for your
into the
signal.
bodies. Okay. So if you just get in your body and just feel your feet on the ground, feel your big toes, feel your little toes, feel your heels, feel them on the ground, feel both sides, the outside and the inside of the heel. Take a deep breath, deep, deep, deep into the belly. Raise it up into the chest. Imagine that breath coming up over your head, and right at the point where, if I make a steeple with my hands, that's actually an access point for my 8th chakra. So if I focus on that point right there, and I don't have to hold that, my hands up there, just know it's there, and just feel that there's this force that's holding you up, and let it be, feel like you're a puppet for a minute, and just let it shake. Give it some shake. Shake, 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 shake. Shake it. Everything shakes. You can let your head be still, but let the rest just shake. Bring the energy into that. Beautiful. Now feel your feet on the earth again, and let them sink right down deep into the earth. Feel the energy from the earth coming up through your feet, and feel it move through your feet, and just move into your ankles and your shin bones, your calves. Let them just stack almost on top of your ankle bones, your shin bones stack. Move your knees, relax and release. Move up into your thighs. Just relax and release those bones. Your hips. And then go all the way up, one vertebrae at a time. Just feel their vertebrae as if they're stacking one on top of the other. And your muscles, you don't have to hold them up with those muscles. You're held up by this cord of light above your head. Just bring it all the way up. Let the shoulder blades just relax down. The shoulders relax. The head poised on top of the neck. perfectly balanced all the way up to the top of the head. There you go. Now do a big, deep breath, draw it right from down below, quickly, up through the body, and just let go through the top of the head, and just start to move and wiggle your body around, jiggle it. Be curious about how many different ways you can move. Jackie's, we just got a real short song. It's only about 2 minutes. So keep your body moving, just movement. Remember, movement, flowing, moving, however you want to move. If you want to sing along with Jackie's song, some of you will know it. You go ahead and sing along, but let's just feel it and stay in your body, stay present. Jackie, you want to give us some music?
Solicita una poca de gracia para mí, para ti. Y arriba por ti, say yeah, por ti, say yeah, por ti, say yeah. Yo no sé marinar, yo no sé marinar, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam, para, bamba, solicita una poca de gracia para mí, para ti. Y arriba por ti, say yeah, por ti, say yeah, por ti, say yeah. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 para bam. Woo! That's it, baby.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. How does that feel, folks? I would love to thank you very much for everybody for joining us. Thanks for participating. Thanks for your patience with the technology that didn't quite go the way we wanted it to, but anyway, it is what it is. And I would love to leave you with a poem that I wrote quite some time ago as a result of a dream when I was really struggling to find my power and get out of trying to control things all the time. And when I was, it was very pivotal. I hope that you enjoy it and carry it with you. And it's meant to help you unlock your power as you go forward in your life. Use these skills, use your body, let it be the learning navigational device you want, and claim your power. Because if you don't claim your power, it won't claim you. So here's the poem. One night, and you might even close your eyes and envision this. One night, I had the strangest dream. It truly was a scream. For in that dream, I found myself in a warehouse without a shelf. And lining that warehouse wall to wall were clear glass cubes 8 feet tall. And in each cube dwelt a lone human being, caught up in their own small world, unaware and unseeing. Some paced anxiously and incessantly back and forth, to and fro, while others shrank deeply into their glass cage corners, sullen and silent, defeated by woe. Still others screamed loudly with wild exclamation, "Let me out of here now," their fierce incantation. Well, I hurried on over to put the screamers at bay because I wanted them quiet and out of the way. But to my surprise and great dismay, I could not budge that latch in any way. You see, the glass was smooth, without a catch. 'Twas not within my power to lift that latch. I waved at the screamer, trying hard just to reach her, for the key to her freedom was in these words, should she heed them. The latch, I cried. It's on the inside.
Thank you so much, Maggie, for sharing all of those experiences with us. Your own experiences and the experiences that you gave us during the call with the sounds and the body postures, the movement. And you know, when you were going through the body and saying something about the hips and relax that or whatever, you know, toward the beginning there, I felt my whole skeleton from the hips, and then I felt it all the way into the bones in my feet, and then the shoulders and brain, skull. It was like I was a skeleton, and then I knew that the rest of my body was over top of that skeleton, and I was just the skeleton for that. That was kind of neat. It really felt like that. I've got a skeleton inside me. I know for sure now.
And that skeleton holds you up.
Yeah, I totally. Well, just like was it? I can't remember. It was Linda. Somebody was or Maureen was describing how Helen had described something, her knee or something, in a way that she'd never heard before. And when she was saying that, I thought that was the same thing with my hips and then the whole skeleton thing. So there's a pretty good chance that everybody here has had some private, interesting experiences, which is why we invited you, because we knew you would bring us an experience. And as questers, that's what we do. We experience. We're here for the ride.
Thank you, Jackie. And it is been a real honor to be here. And if anybody else has any, like, if there's one thing, it's always helpful to be able to say, this is what I'm going with, you know, like Jackie, you mentioned that feeling, you've got it. When we voice it, then we're sure to take it forward into our life. Much more likely to take us forward in our life than if we just say, yeah, that was cool, that was good, that was.
Oh yeah, totally different.
Yeah. So if anybody has anything that you would like to share as we depart, and would like to say for yourself, well, this is I'm always curious about what's one thing that you want to put into not necessarily action, but being in your life. One thing that came to you tonight that you'd like to put into action.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? No, they're full.
Okay.
Look at Barbara. She's just as giddy as a schoolgirl there.
Yeah.
So I would say,
go raise the joy vibration on this planet, and let go of the things you may be carrying that have been pulling you down, that usually show up in the body.
Helen, what were you going to say there?
well done, Maggie. Well done, Jackie. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Helen.
No, it was great to see you, Helen. And so next week, same time, same place, but a different Zoom link. I'll be sending you all the Zoom link. We are going to have Mary Lou Johnson, and she's also talking about new paradigm shift. That's actually the title, New Paradigms. She's been studying this for 30 years. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Although I tell you, Maggie, return power to self. I love it. That's going to be part of it. And I'm going to tell Mary Lou that too. But she may already know.
Yeah. Sure. It's all we're all saying kind of the same thing lots of times in different ways, but it's not necessarily what we've been taught or the line that's been coming so far. So it's neat to be able to share and have people wake up too, because when we claim our power, There's
And
nothing.
those different perspectives, like you were saying earlier, right? When you get a new.
Thank you.
Hi.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Night. All right, I'll stop the recording here, but when we do get a new perspective, like you were saying before, Maggie, everything's like when you went Cosmo there, you went into the cosmic consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
nothing can ever take that experience away from you, can it?
No.
Your mind, once expanded beyond its original bounds, never goes back. That's the neat thing about this work that we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Thank you, Maggie. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Maggie.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. You're welcome.
Very much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yay.
Okay, well, blessings, everyone. We'll see you next
Blessings.
week. You're very much loved there. And Maggie, you are the host right now, so you're going to have to end the meeting, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Thanks, everybody, for coming, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Everybody.